Ladies and gentlemen, y'all please give it up and help me welcome award-winning journalist, digital media mogul, managing editor, and host of Roland Martin Unfiltered, the one and only, show your love, Roland Martin. Hey, Roland, what up, man?
Somebody said, they said, man, they already talking trash.
Roland, I ain't said nothing about you on this show. You know I wouldn't disrespect you like that.
I said, look, just let Rickey know I apologize. My book is not a pictorial. It's rough for those omegas. We got actual words in it.
Pictorial, bro. He said a pictorial book.
Roland said y'all need cartoons.
So Roland, you said for the cues, you know, we need a book with pictures in it.
I'm just saying I got actual words in it. But it's all good. There is an audible version that you can actually listen to. So I'm just saying.
Boy, you low down rotten dog. Hey, y'all, hey, Becca, and you know, Roland, congratulations on the book White Fear, how the browning of America is making white folks lose their mind. What made you come up with that topic?
Well, look, I've been talking about this issue literally since the inauguration of President Barack Obama. The first time there was a study that was done, the question was asked, are you optimistic about the future of America for your children? Every group, black, Latinos, Asian, everybody said yes. White folks were less than a majority. Of September 2016, the question was asked, are you optimistic about the future of America economically for the next 10 years? Black people, lowest wealth, highest optimism. White Americans, highest wealth, lowest optimism. You know, as Kathy Hughes said, you know, you got to be deeper than mustard on a hot dog. And so what happens is you got to ask the second, the third, and the fourth question. What's going on? Why? What's the deal? And white Americans are fearful of us taking over. You have people that are scared to death. They're losing power, losing money. And so January 6th, that's what that was all about. Remember, Donald Trump talked about the election was rigged in 4 cities: Atlanta, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Detroit. What those 4 cities got in common? Black people.
Right.
And so that's why I chose that photo of a white man, his arms outstretched on January 6th. That photo on the cover basically says all of this is ours. And that has been the case since this country was started. And they can't handle the fact that you are seeing the demographic shift. And so I outline historically how that has happened, how black success has always been followed by white backlash, and how we must understand what is at play with all of the stuff that attacks on critical race theory and 1619 Project, diversity, equity, inclusion. It's this fear that they will lose power, lose their grip on this country.
Well, you know what, Roland? With the reports we hear in the news every day, the whole thing about white fear, as you was just speaking about, is really scary. And its influence on American politics is also kind of scary. How can we face the future of our nation without tearing ourselves apart in the process?
Well, first of all, we've always had it. So we say it's scary. Black people have had to deal with this since the inception. And so what is required of white, conscious white folks to step up and to challenge their own. And you're actually seeing that. But it requires more. It also requires us to be fully understand and not get caught up in this misinformation, this disinformation game that we're seeing played, especially where African Americans are being targeted on social media with lies. Because what we have to understand, again, when I say it's always been followed, black success has been followed by white backlash. When you look at that, when you look at what's happening politically, when you look at this agenda the right is trying to drive forth, that is not an agenda that benefits us. Even if you got a few sprinkling of black people who agree with that, we must be fortifying ourselves educationally. Because how can we talk about America will be a nation majority of people of color by 2043, but we're not in position to take advantage of that? I'm one of the huge advocates for black-owned media when it comes to advertising. $322 billion being spent every year, black-owned media not getting our fair share. We must be fighting for that. So we must be in an offensive state of mind where we're saying we are preparing ourselves. We talk about voting. You can't be running around here talking about, man, this is not going to change anything, when what you're doing is you are empowering white voters to continue to control. We should be voting in terms of our numbers at 75, 80, 85, 90, 95%, because that's also a way for you to change what is happening in this country but we have to be more willing to use all of our tools at our disposal to battle white fear. Because trust me, they ain't playing. They see how the nation is changing, and they're trying to hold on as long as they can. We need to shorten that sucker as quickly as possible.
That is powerful. And this morning we have Roland Martin on the line talking about his book. Now, Roland, discuss the evolution of the Tea Party movement and QAnon as it relates to where we are today.
That ain't nothing new. You get the John Birch Society in the 1950s, 1960s. You've always had that. You've always had this element of extremist white Americans that also forms the basis of the party. You got to remember, in the 1960s, Ronald Reagan supported an initiative in California where homeowners did not have to sell their homes to black folks, even with the Fair Housing Act coming in 1968. So you've always had these elements. Part of the problem is too many of us have not read history books. We were asleep. Again, there was a faction called the Lily White Party. The Lily White Party. Herbert Hoover became president. And so you have these Republicans today going, well, the Democrats, the KKK, was created by the Southern Democrats. Fact. Well, there was a faction called the Lily White Party that also, and Herbert Hoover became president. He was a Republican. You're going back to the 1920s and 1930s, and so you've always had that. The difference now is you're now seeing how the internet is driving this. You're now seeing how they're driving ideology, and they're trying to say, well, no, we're not racist. We just believe in our way of life. Well, you look at the whole Fox News and Tucker Carlson, the Great Replacement theory. They're talking about that here. Their fear is, oh my goodness, we're being replaced. No, that's not your fear. Y'all just stopped having babies. The annual white death rate is higher than the annual white birth rate in more than a dozen states in this country. Y'all trying to blame everybody else. They want to blame black people, blame Latinos, this whole deal with the flying the migrants around because they stopped screwing. That ain't our problem. That's your problem.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, Roland, you kind of answered.
But it's fact. It's fact.
Yeah,
It's just fact. So the reality is what we are seeing here in the U.S., Europe dealt with this for the last decade when they were fighting African migration. Look, white people are dying off in this world, and this nation is, first of all, the world is already 2/3 people of color. America is now just changing, and they're like, man, look, we can't have this because they have controlled it.
Roland,
that's what it's about: power, control, and money.
Okay, Roland, you have said a mouthful so far, man. But let me ask you this. What practical things do you think, what simple and practical things do you think that black folks can do to fight against these attempts to limit our ability to vote and continue to make a political impact?
First, you got to expand it beyond just the notion of voting. So what I mean is, first of all, maximizing our numbers. Every eligible African American getting registered. That's first. Then second, voting. But remember, the election is the end of one process, the beginning of another. We've got to ensure that we're showing up at city council meetings, county commissioners meetings, state legislature, and Congress as well, because voting is one thing, but then saying, no, you're going to then do what we said you were going to do. Everybody, look, other groups do that. That means also mobilizing our organization, every fraternity, every sorority, Eastern Star, Prince Hall Mason, Boule, you name it, because we have organized infrastructure to do this. Dr. King wrote in Chaos, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? He said there are 4 institutions that are primed to liberate black people: the Negro Church, the Negro Press, Negro fraternities and sororities, and Negro professional and business organizations. And he said all 4 of them have never fully committed themselves to the liberation of black people. And that is absolutely true. And so too many of our frats and sororities and other groups are focused internally on our own business. No, you should be saying that when you go to a school board meeting, they should look up and see 100 brothers in purple and gold. And then the next month, 100 brothers in black and gold. Then the next month, 100 sisters in red and white. Then 100 sisters in blue and white, and on and on and on. We have to use our organizational power to drive a change. Unfortunately, we're not doing that. We're too insular and individual. And so it requires the black collective doing so. We talk about the fact that the federal government spends 1.67% of their contracts on black people. That's $560 billion they spend every year, and we only get $9 billion. Why in the hell aren't our institutions saying this is grossly unfair? That's what I'm talking about. We change this when we operate as a black collective, operating as a sole individuals who think we can change it just by ourselves.
All right, Roland, where can people get your book, White Fear, how the browning of America is making white folks lose their mind? And, how can we follow you on,
It's everywhere.
Roland Martin Unfiltered?
First of all, they can watch it everywhere. You get the book everywhere, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Target. But also, if you want to support black bookstores, order the book through a black bookstore. That's also how you drive black economics. And, of course, download my Black Star Network app. My show's live every single day, 2 hours a day. Plus, I got 6 other shows on the network. And so, look, we're doing the work. We're speaking to the issues, and it's black-owned. And the other piece is I don't have to ask nobody permission for the stores that we cover because when you own it, you control it.
That's good stuff right there.
That's real black power.
Hey, that's good stuff right there. Hey, man, my shout out to the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I know your brothers.
You really mean,
huh?
You really mean your daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you make it. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up for the one and only Roland Martin.
Roll.